What if I told you that there's a revolutionary strategy to help you produce more content as a visionary CEO? Hi, my name is Brian Dixon, founder of Hope Books, where we help you discover your next right read and finally share your story with a world desperately in need of your hope-filled words. And in this video, I'm going to share one of my favorite strategies from Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time. This is the 10-80-10 rule. I first heard about the 10-80-10 rule from Michael Hyatt when I was working with his team years ago. Michael comes out with a lot of books, but he doesn't write all of those books 100%. Instead, he does the first 10%, lets his team do the next 80%, and then he finishes off the last 10%. Now on page 88 in Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell talks about this concept. He calls it the 10-80-10 rule. The first 10% is ideation, and that's up to you as the visionary CEO. You're the only one with that big idea for your next book. So you do the first 10%. For me, that means the title of the book, the overall concept of the book, the foundational framework of the book. The next section, the execution, the 80% execution is what your team does. So Michael's team, what they do is they go through his podcast interviews, they go through his podcast episodes, they go through his blog posts and his keynote speeches, and they find the content that fits the ideation of the overall book vision. And once they put together a manuscript, then he'll read through it and he'll do the last 10%, which is the integration, making sure that the book manuscript fits his vision, his values, and his voice. And you can do the same. So think about this. If you've been dreaming about having an online course, what if you didn't have to do 100% of it, but you did the first 10%, let your team do the 80%, and then you finish the last 10%? Or what about writing a book? You don't have to write the whole book because you create content all the time. What if you worked with your team, you created the idea for the book, let them do the 80% of fleshing out the content based on your vision, your values, and your voice, and you did the last 10%. Don't you think that you get so much more done? I highly recommend you get a copy of Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, because this is only one of several strategies Dan teaches to help you make more out of the time that you have.